Kingdom is a minimalist strategy game from 2015 in which you control a monarch on horseback rebuilding their empire with the help of one singular resource: gold coins. In this game you use gold coins for everything from recruiting new workers to buying tools for them to use and building up defenses against the nightly monster assaults. If all goes well, your hunters and farmers work through the day and provide more gold coins for you to reinvest into your growing nation so that you can avoid being overrun by the growing hordes of whatever these things are supposed to be. By replacing all commodities in the game with the symbolic stand-in of their value, money, Kingdom manages to simplify its resource system far enough to match its 2D presentation and free button control scheme. What's more interesting, however, is that this level of abstraction highlights the tension between the game's internal economy of resource management and its external economy of player attention and focus. Most strategy games have these two levels working in unison, so you may not even be used to thinking of internal and external economies as different systems. The more effectively you split your attention between different parts of the map in games like Age of Empires or StarCraft for instance, the more effectively you can build units and collect resources. The way to succeed in these games is essentially to minimize the idle times of your workers and production facilities, which means you're constantly clicking back and forth between your various outposts. This is the design philosophy that gave us actions per minute, or APM, as a measure of player performance. While tactics and strategizing play an important part in these games, the real question is whether your mouse movements and button presses are fast and precise enough to execute all your plans. Real-time strategy games are largely a thing of the past at this point, but this design philosophy lives on in their modern-day descendant, the MOBA. And clearly the success of games like Dota 2 and League of Legends shows that there's a massive audience who enjoys this kind of hectic and fiercely competitive play, but for others, like myself, it's simply stressful and exhausting. Part of the problem is that these types of games require a lot of practice to get into, which is inherently limiting for older players with busy schedules. But even if you have enough time to try to get competent in one of these games, they have such a high skill ceiling that it's easy to feel like you will never compare to other players. No matter how far you climb, there's always an entire mountain ahead of you. Kingdom turns that rapidly dashing mouse cursor of other strategy games into its own character, which means that the player's ability to keep track of different parts of the map is now limited by movement speed, stamina, and the presence of enemies. To compensate for this, your workers move autonomously and only need the occasional bit of indirect guidance. This approach lowers the ceiling for optimal play, but it doesn't make the game easy. There are plenty of things you need to attend to between exploring, recruiting, collecting coins, buying tools, upgrading buildings, expanding your territory, and ultimately sending your troops to attack the monster portals. The limited movement speed of your character only makes it more challenging to juggle all of these tasks. By removing the option to be everywhere at once, the game makes the question of where you should be at any given time much more interesting. Unlike other strategy games, splitting your focus too much in Kingdom makes you less effective, since you'll waste a lot of time running back and forth across the map. Instead, you need to figure out which parts of the map need your attention right now, and which can be left alone for a while. Do you stick around until your builders finish a new wall so you can immediately tell them to upgrade it, or do you keep going? Do you want to ride into the forest to round up some deer for your hunters, or do you want to go to the other side of the map to recruit some more workers? And if you go there right now, will there be enough time left for them to make it back to the castle before the monsters attack? Even the space you traverse is itself a resource that needs to be carefully managed. Extending your castle's walls allows you to secure farmland and move your troops closer to the enemy, but it destroys the shrubs that spawn bunnies for your archers to hunt. Cutting down trees creates more shrubs, but destroys the camps you depend on for new recruits. You'll need to strike a balance between all three types of land, and of course any expansion you do make comes with the hidden cost of making a kingdom more time-consuming to move through. Given how much effort goes into minimizing travel times in this game through everything from planning your kingdom effectively to managing your horse's stamina, it's easy to think of the time spent moving back and forth across the map as nothing but dead weight, a nuisance to be avoided. In truth, the time spent simply riding across the map may be Kingdom's most important feature. It's completely useless on a mechanical level, sure, but that's sort of the point. Because travel is both trivial, pointless, and ultimately unavoidable, it introduces dull moments into a typically very restless genre. Most strategy games demand your undivided attention from start to finish. They never stop, they never slow down, and if you want to stay competitive, neither can you. Kingdom, however, provides breaks for you. Riding from one side of the map to the other can mean anything from 10 to 60 seconds of idle time, the perfect opportunity to take stock, plan your next move, or simply let your mind wander for a bit. When I was younger, I used to play a lot of real-time strategy games, and my favorite thing was always to build the largest possible army and throw it at the enemy in one big, uncoordinated ball. The resulting fight would fill the entire screen with fire and explosions, a riveting spectacle to watch unfold. The better I became at strategy games, however, the more self-conscious I grew about letting my camera linger on the spectacle I had worked so hard to create. After all, I still had a base to manage, and I would need new units to replace the ones I was currently losing. Such is the tragic nature of real-time strategy games. You put all this effort into them, but you can never really sit back and enjoy the fruits of your labor. It's easy to look at a minimalist game such as Kingdom and assume that it sacrifices the nuance and complexities of larger titles. In truth, the game does a tremendous job of preserving the essence of its genre, the strategizing and decision making, while combining it with a more relaxed pace. A pace that ebbs and flows, that creates organic pauses for the player and gives them time to think or to simply look at what they've built. Kingdom is a demanding game, but by transforming the need to be everywhere at once from a personal to a mechanical challenge, it manages to be a demanding game and a relaxing game at the same time.